welcome to our extra helping of the show.
When it pays to watch, more.
Yes, more with our money-saving celebrity, Micheal Fish.
More on how to cut the amount you spend fueling your car.
And more time to answer any money questions that this audience have to throw at me, or money-saving ones at least, I hope.
And it's sight unseen, there's no chance of you glimpsing this card.
Go on, just peek.
No, back off. And I want you to go and see Claire, our fuel makeover volunteer, in a minute. But first, did I see an audience member giving you a little tip before we started?
You did, actually. It's Beata over there. I don't know if you can see her. Just because, you see, I got my coffee. As you know, I get my coffee each week. And I held it, and my fingers were burning. This is something everyone should try at home. When your fingers are burning, Beata said to me, put your fingers on your ear, coolest part on your body, and it cools it down. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, I'll save people money now. Right. So, Claire, what did you reckon? 750 quid? Were you
Quite a lot, yeah.
surprised?
Yes.
Which was the most interesting of the three types? Obviously, cheaper petrol, you probably guessed we were going to go there.
Yeah.
The car efficiency, did you have a clue about that?
No, absolutely not. Well, no.
I mean, pumping up your tyres, you might have guessed, but the roof rack...
The roof rack I didn't know about at all.
And the air conditioning, that's your big one. I mean, that was up to 6, 7, 8% saving for you. The other one is the driving more efficiently. Now, I think we all in here know that if you drive faster, you're going to use more petrol, yeah? But I think that that slight subtle change, because I don't race when I drove, but just for me, just that little bit on the outside,
Yeah,
incredible.
absolutely.
Are you going to change the way you drive?
Maybe.
What does maybe mean?
I'll try till I get bored with it.
I think... I'm not going to tell you about speeding and going fast and stuff like that. We're not even going to get into that. That's a whole different conversation. But what I would say is this is about acceleration.
Yeah.
Let's forget motorways for a second. You probably do a lot of driving in town.
Yes.
I want you, when you go back and drive, I want you to answer me this question. How many times do you accelerate from a traffic light only to decelerate from a traffic light so that the car that was behind you, that you had massive distance between, is now still the car that's behind you?
Yeah, indeed.
And you watch that and then forget getting bored. It's just stupid. It's a waste of fuel. It's bad for the environment and it's bad for your pocket.
OK.
So we're going... Look at the finger wagging. Finger wagging. Stop rally driving. You know, you can still do the speed that you feel comfortable with driving, but just stop pushing the acceleration if it's not getting you there quicker. Agreed? Yes? Does anyone drive the way I was discussing in there? Has anyone ever done that type of experiment? There are a couple of you nodding before. No. Try. I was shocked. And I now drive differently ever since I did it. Claire, thanks so much. Wonderful to have you on. Wasn't Claire good, everyone? Round of applause for Claire, please. Ruth.
Before the audience here get to pose their questions for the week, Martin has a chance to catch up with our celebrity guest, Micheal Fish.
Micheal, I love not being able to save you much money. I don't say that very often. What was interesting for me is because you are very good at this. Now, I'm very mathematical. You're a meteorologist. Is that a mathematical science as well?
Yeah, maths comes into it a lot. Physics probably even more. But yes, I am.
Do you think in numbers?
Sometimes. At my age, I hardly think at all. But, but yes, sometimes. I certainly do have a mathematical brain.
Yeah, I think that helps when it comes down... I mean, anyone can save money, whether you're good at maths or not, but certainly when you're doing product comparisons for yourself, an ability to understand and do calculations quickly makes it a lot more comfortable, doesn't it?
And it helps being semi-retired, too, because when I was at work, I'd have never, ever had time to do anything like this. But now, of course, I can sit and browse on the internet and get all the information I want.
Now, you're semi-retired because you're still doing the weather on BBC South East.
That's right, yes.
That must be an interesting move, moving from... Because, of course, you're the famous face of the weather for a very long time, and then moving and enjoying it being in the regions. How have you found the transition? It's
lovely to be my own boss and to do decent hours because in the previous job, and indeed my colleagues are still doing, we operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Christmas, Easter, you know. And now I'm free to choose the hours I want to do, the days I want to do, and the things I want to do. I mean, I'm here now.
Yeah.
This is lovely. In the old days, I wouldn't have been allowed to do this sort of thing.
Going back to the money saving for a second, because what fascinates me is I love it, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? Yes? Yeah, I love what I do. I have a genuine passion about it. As we were talking in the film, in the programme, I'm on holiday doing experiments over petrol efficiency to see how much money you can save. Are you doing it to save money to the extent you're doing it, or are you doing it because you actually enjoy the thrill of getting the best deal?
Yes, I think I started off saving money because when you suddenly end up on a pension, your salary is only 2/3 of what it was, or even in my case, 1/3 of what it was, then obviously you've got to make savings. But then I think it became a little bit of, I'm going to beat the system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yes.
We're talking next week about cashback sites. user cashback sites?
No, I don't. I'm afraid to say I don't actually approve of them. I have researched it, and it's one of the things I put a big cross against.
Now, is that cashback cards or cashback sites? Why cross against?
Well, I've heard bad press about cashback sites because on many occasions there's quite a battle to actually get your money back.
Yeah, it certainly can be difficult at times, although the key to a cashback sites, and I will explain this in detail next week, a lot of people I'm guessing in here don't know what they are, is the internet works via advertising, right? So when you go to a website and it has an advert on it, you then click through to a news site and you buy a product. The website that had the advert on it gets paid. What cashback sites do is they effectively take those adverts, you click through an advert, but they give you some of the money they earn. Now, provided the product that you're getting at the end isn't any worse, the worst thing that can happen to you is you get the price that was advertised. The best thing is you get the cash back and you make 575 quid a year. So you might enjoy it. We're talking top cashback, Quidco, that type of stuff.
Well, I do it in a way because whenever I buy anything on the internet, I either go through the Nectar site, the BA Miles site. So I'm getting cash back, but in form of Nectar points or Air Miles or BA Miles.
The redemption level on cashback sites, the right cashback sites, the Quidcos and the top cashbacks of this world are many, many more times what you'll get on a Nectar site. Anyway, I am enjoying the fact that I'm getting to talk to someone sitting in this seat who actually knows the difference between their ISA and their elbow. So it's quite nice to have you on here. Michael, thank you so much for coming in. It's been lovely to meet you. Thank you. Michael Fish, everyone. And next week, we're going to be meeting Chico of X Factor fame. I predict he won't quite be a money saver like Michael, but we'll have a look when that comes. Now it's time for my weekly challenge.
Now we've got to have a shout out for our Essex ladies who've come all together on a coach for the show. Worth the trip? Woo! Good. So on with Martin's questions, and first up we have Wendy. Where are you, my love? Yeah. Hey, Wendy. I'll come and stand on this side. Come forward a little bit. Don't hide behind that petrol pump because you're shy. What would you like to ask him?
Hello, Martin.
Hello, my love.
After watching your programme about council tax, I decided to appeal as I believed I was in the wrong band. The VOA can't locate my records and can't tell me why. What should I do now?
The VOA can't locate your records, so they don't even know what council tax band you're paying.
They know what I'm paying, but because the appeal was in 1993, they say the microfiche and...
The appeal or the valuation?
The appeal.
The appeal was in... I think that sounds like an inappropriate way to handle a case, if you ask me, and I would go to the local government ombudsman and say, look, I'm sitting in a situation where I'm trying to appeal my council tax ban, but due to inefficiencies in the system, that means I've not collected any records, I'm unable to do so, and I do not believe I've been treated fairly or equitably because of it, I'm using deliberate language, fairly or equitably because of it, and I'd like you to investigate this, and I'd go to the local government ombudsman to deal with that. That would seem the best route. Never heard of that scenario before, so I'm thinking on my feet about that one, but I would think that's probably the best and most appropriate way. But give the VOA another chance before you do that. I mean, I would simply write them a letter saying, this isn't my fault. I'm asking you to review my case. Can you go and redo a revaluation, please?
OK, thanks for your answer.
But, yeah, I mean, the answer, like every type of reclaiming out there, don't give up. Don't give up. If they say, you know, if you write and say, I think I've been missold my PPI, they're always going to say no, so go back to them. Council tax is different because it's a government organisation. But still, fight your corner. You know what the worst that can happen? Nothing if you've done your checks right.
Well, exactly.
So go for it. If you've got the time, go for it.
Thank you.
Just a quickie, Martin, for anyone that doesn't know, what's the VOA?
The Valuation Office Agency, which is... We did the council tax programme. You'll find details on moneysavingexpert.com/council of how to reclaim council tax. The key is lots of people, I believe, are in the wrong property. So what you can do is you can check your band compared to your neighbours' bands in similar properties. If they're paying less than you are, you can try and have a go at appealing. But do all the checks, and the Valuations Office Agency is the organisation that manages that whole council tax process.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. OK, where's Sally? Hey, Sally, come forward. What would you like to ask him?
First up, Martin, I want to say a big thank you because I used your letters to claim some bank charges back.
How much?
1,200 quid.
I love that.
You just made his day.
Second item, I believe in the mid-80s I was missold an endowment mortgage.
Right. Mid-80s?
The mid-80s, yeah. And I can't remember the name of the financial company that sold it to me. It was via the estate agent.
Yeah.
And I've tried contacting Scottish Provident, who have it now.
Yeah.
And they say they've got no original documentation. Have you got any advice how I can try to...
The endowment's closed now, I'm presuming. No, or it's still open with Scottish Provident.
Yeah.
endowment mis-selling is getting more and more tricky, and I've been nagging people for years to try and have a go for it because the clock is ticking and you only have a certain amount of time to have a go at endowment mis-selling compensation. Yours is even more difficult. If I remember correctly, that pre-1989 endowments, it's much, much more difficult to reclaim, and most of the reclaiming is post-1989. I may have got that date wrong, so forgive me if I have. I have deliberately never focused too much on endowment mis-selling reclaiming because which do a very good job of it. And unfortunately, though, pre-1989, you are really on a very difficult... You don't know your details and it's pre-1989. How badly do you think you've been missold?
That's £1,700,000 worth.
How much?
1,700,000.
1,700,000.
17,000, sorry.
£17,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very serious case. Once you start to get into these type of fields, you have to go and look at taking some form of legal action because we're going pre-1989. I'm going to say something that I rarely would ever say because I don't like claims handling firms. And I think that generally you don't need to use a claim handling firm for a reclaim. But I would think that you can't find your original details, and we're talking pre-1989, it may be worth just going to find a claims handling firm who'll take 25% if you win and seeing if they're prepared to do the digging and do the work for you and just say, look, I'll give up on 25%. But that is not a precedent-setting general rule, everyone watching. Most times you shouldn't. But it's a very difficult-sounding scenario you've got there, if I'm honest.
OK.
I'm sorry.
Cheers.
Sometimes there are no good answers.
Yeah, fair enough.
Good luck anyway, let us know how you
you.
get on, yeah? OK, where's Jane?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Yes, fine, thank you.
What would you like to ask Martin?
There are lots of comparison sites on the internet,
Yep.
but what about for those who aren't on the internet? Are there any phone lines they can phone?
Well, there are gas and electricity. Certainly, you can do a comparison on the phone. All the big comparison sites for gas and electricity have phone-based offerings. But for everything else, no. I mean, we live in a very strange society. Those who are not on the internet are effectively information disenfranchised. And, you know, we get the way that we work in that basic situation is what's happened is the poorer people in society are the ones who don't have the internet, or those who are retired and who don't have the income they used to. And the rich people in the society do have the internet and therefore have access to cheaper prices, which is an absolutely bizarre scenario. So the answer I'm going to give is quite simple. I would encourage anybody of any age, if you can't afford a computer, to go to your local library where you have free access and training on how to use a computer and at least learn. But there are certain things, car insurance, home insurance, cheap flights, doing a check on Untitled.com of your benefits, where the internet is so massively more powerful than just doing it by yourself. If you can learn, do. If you can't and you have a family member who you can use the internet for you, grab them by the ear, you know, and take them and say, will you do this for me? Because those products are products that aren't internet products. You do the search on the internet, but then anybody can get hold of the product. But the answer is, if you're not on the internet, you are information disenfranchised. Yeah. It's as simple as that. The internet is now being accepted. 80% of the country are on it, and the 20% who aren't, it's going to get worse and worse. So it's time to learn. You can do it free at the library. That's what I would say.
Thanks.
And to be absolutely honest, there's no one watching this who isn't.
No.
Right now. Anyway, there we go.
Can I just say, though, Jane, you're someone that's become a money saver, aren't you?
Yeah.
What impact has that had on your life?
Well, a lot, really, because since I've been on Martin's site every day...
Yay!
I haven't
You're an
got
addict,
any
aren't you?
haven't got any more money than what I did have. I'm able to do a lot more with the money I've got, you know, free holidays and, well, our life's completely changed and that's, you know... Thank you.
Well, it's absolutely my pleasure. I love hearing that. Look, I'm more sopping it, aren't I? I tell you what, I absolutely, you know, I'll just tell you a story. I was working at 12:30 last night and I'd had a pretty horrible day. And somebody emailed me to say something like that. And I remembered, and you've just reminded me why I do what I do. So thank you very much. It's very kind of you.
And also, Martin, she's one of our Essex ladies, so they've all had a free day out now. That's money saving,
Yeah, we go.
isn't it? I think that's all the questions we've got time for. Well done there, Martin. Well handled.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Another clap for Martin, bless him. Thank you very much. And remember, if you'd like to be part of this specially invited audience, then click on the link up there. Now, join us back on 5, Wednesday at 7:30.
And as you're watching this on the web, you should be interested to know in the topic how to make the most cash-wise from shopping on the web and getting the best possible bargains that you can.
From using screen scrappers to how...
Scrapers!
Scrappers! I can't read, whatever. To how cashback sites work is one show not to be missed.
Because as always...
Great place to watch.